We were all helplessly watching this inevitable big beautiful bill pass. Supreme Court just made Trump more powerful than ever. In the June, Supreme Court ruled that federal judges can no longer have nationwide blocks on Trump's federal policies. See, Trump has been getting his ass handed to him in court. He lost 90% of court rulings. 70% of them were from Republican appointed judges. So this is not even a bipartisan thing. Things Trump are doing are legitimately unconstitutional. One of those being an executive order that repealed the 14th Amendment to birthright citizenship. Federal judge had set a nationwide injunction blocking the policy. But with Supreme Court blocking this injunction, now in 28 states, kids born after July 27th won't get birth certificates, social security cards, or passports. Essentially, they just won't be American citizens. Trump administration was complaining about all these L's they were taking in court. They said, hey, how can we do our job? How can we run our policy if any federal judge anywhere can block every Trump decision everywhere? Coney Barrett, the pick-me of the group, says, oh, yeah, you're right. And in fact, here's this 1789 law that says universal injunctions didn't exist back in British courts, so it shouldn't exist now. This is what we believe. I'm an originalist, right? I'm a traditionalist. We read the Constitution literally. That's what we do. That's one. Then you have Clarence Thomas, who says, yeah, I've been saying this the whole time. Actually, he's just been a part of this conservative plan the whole time. But he's saying, yeah, I've always said this. This is what it would have always been. Then you have Samuel Alito, his corrupt best man, his hype man, who's just gonna be like, yeah, word, what he said. Have Brett Kavanaugh saying, look, I know this looks a little partisan, but we're still the Supreme Court, right? There is uniform law here. Chief Justice John Roberts, who wants to make it seem like everything is fair and by the book, but really he's paid off like these dude. He wants to say, yeah. And then you got Neil Gorsuch, right? Who's a libertarian, who's definitely going to be like, yeah, judges should have less power. And so that's how you get your six. Yes, it is a very conservative packed court, and we should expand it. But shout out the dissenters, right? Sonia Sotomayor, who's just calling out all the blatant bullshit. It's like, what are we doing following 1789 law? Like, what are we doing giving up the powers of the judiciary branch? And Ketanji Brown, who is also not gonna hold back, who's like, yo, this is a blatant disrespect of checks and balances. Why can't federal judges tell presidents what's constitutional and not constitutional? Isn't that their job? So it's harder to stop Trump. It's harder to sue Trump. Kids in 28 states are going to be born with absolute headaches that we're not quite sure how and when we'll be able to solve them. And thanks to the presidential immunity ruling and this ruling, the executive branch is that much more stronger. And I'm sure we'll see the judiciary branch rule that Congress can't investigate presidents either.